So today we are talking about overcoming challenges with meditation. And whether you are new to meditation, whether you are trying but just can't build a consistent practice with it, or maybe you're like me, you've been practicing for years and maybe a little bit more seasoned in your practice, there are obstacles along the way, no matter where we are at in our journey. And so I want to explore some strategies to help you navigate these challenges and work through them. But the first thing I want to touch on is just how easy meditation can be. So we're going to do a short practice together, and this is meant to show you that it can be simple. We, people, historically, have this notion of overcomplicating things a lot. We overcomplicate things. We make it harder than it has to be. We have to see where we're going before we go. We have to know how to get from A to B. We have to know the end result. We have to know the benefits and why we're doing something, instead of sometimes just trusting that it's helpful, trusting that it works, trusting that we can do this and it's worthwhile. And so I want you to just understand how simple this is. If you are listening to this and you're seated in a chair, to have your head stacked over your heart and your heart stacked over your hips with your feet on the floor if you're able to. And I like to think of, everything's kind of connected from your hips to your head as you're seated, sort of like a string, and they're all stacked. We have a tendency to slouch forward. We have a tendency to arch our back backward, to shrug our shoulders up to our ears. And all of those things can be problematic when we're trying to breathe, we're trying to get deep breaths and calm the body. So kind of fix your posture. If you might be laying down, that's okay. If you might be, hearing this while you're walking, that's okay too. Just make sure that you're intentional with your steps, you're paying attention to your surroundings, and try to stay focused with us. So you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, if you're in a place that you're able to do that, or you could soften your gaze on something in front of you. And I want you to go ahead and take a few deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. And continue that inhaling and exhaling. Feel the sensation of your breath entering your body and leaving your body. Allow each inhale to fill you with calm. Allow each exhale to release any tension or stress. As you continue to breathe, bring your awareness to the present moment. Notice any sensations in your body, the sounds happening around you, the thoughts that are passing through your mind. And instead of getting caught up in these distractions, simply observe them with a sense of detachment. So easily we can let our focus be pulled to one direction or one thing, and then it kind of nags at us and it pulls at our attention, and we lose the ability to be present right now. So if your mind is wandering, that's okay. Just gently bring it back to your breath, remembering that inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Use that inhale, that exhale, use that breath as an anchor to keep you grounded in the present moment. And as we bring this quick little session to a close, take a moment to thank yourself, be proud of yourself for carving out this time for self-care, for this mindfulness. And you can come back to this. You can do this exact thing that we just did whenever you need to. Whenever you start to feel stressed, when you feel like you might be going into a stressful situation or you're encountering some trigger in your life, you can come back to this and breathe and center and focus, connecting within you, releasing that tension. It's that easy. So now to talk a little bit about overcoming meditation challenges. Now that you saw just how easy and simple that can be, and you can literally do that anywhere. You can do that sitting in the pickup line at school. You can do that, walking down the hall. You can do that sitting at your desk. You can do that on your lunch break. You could go anywhere. You can practice. So easy, right? Some challenges that people encounter, first of all, are the mind wandering. I can't stop thinking. And we're not meant to stop thinking. The brain, that's what it does. Its job is to process information, to analyze things, to keep us safe. And so what happens when we sit down to meditate, when we're still and we're quiet, is we start to hear all that chatter. We start to think of all the things that we're supposed to be doing, our to-do lists. And the idea is to just let it be. Let those thoughts pass. They don't need our attention in that moment. So if you find yourself getting distracted by something and you're kind of holding on to this thought of, oh, I have to do the laundry, I have to empty the dishwasher, I have to make lunch, just let it go. Okay. Another challenge that we have is being still, just sitting and being quiet. We are so used to all of this stuff coming at us, having to filter this and that and all this information and all of this stuff that when we turn it all off, we don't know what to do. And I like to think about this analogy of like, when you have your power in your home, your fridge makes noise, your furnace or your air conditioner makes noise. If you use the microwave, it makes noise. If you have the TV on, if you have any electronics, they have a little bit of a hum to them, even if you're not on the device. But what happens when the power goes out? Your house sounds really, really quiet, right? Like almost eerie quiet, because we're not used to it. And so when we stop and we try to turn off all of that external stuff in our minds, for a lot of us, we get very fidgety. We give up before we even start because we cannot imagine sitting still and being quiet and calm for more than 10 seconds. If you're someone who's tried to practice and you've used the theory that I often suggest in setting a timer for like a minute every day, and then 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and just letting your practice get longer and longer over time, at first you were probably like, that was a really long minute. We think, is it over yet? And it's 20 seconds, right? If you've started with 5 minutes, you're thinking that is the longest 5 minutes of my life, because we're quiet. We've stopped all the things. We're not on our phones. We're not reading books. We're not watching TV. We're not taking in all of this external stuff that's stimulating our brain. And so it's hard. It's hard to overcome that. But as I just mentioned, my best suggestion, my best tip is to start small. Just begin somewhere. The only way we get better at something is to do it. The only way we get better at something is to consistently try and implement it as often as we're able. The only way anything gets easier in our lives is by consistent practice. And you can use every analogy in the book. When kids learn how to read, when we're practicing sports, when we're training for a race, when we're, you have to put in that effort before you get that result. So that is hard for a lot of us. Hard. Another challenge is that we don't have time. And I want you to go back to the first 3 minutes where we did that practice. Everyone has time. We just have to make it. And this is something, again, that's so easy to do that it's really easy not to do. It's the thing that can fall to the bottom of the list faster than you can say tomorrow, because we think, oh, it's only 3 minutes. Oh, it's only 5 minutes. What is that going to help? And it will help. And my description or my analogy for this is like stretching your body. 5 minutes of stretching your body every day can make a huge difference in how we feel, in our flexibility, in our stability. We're getting stronger by stretching, even if it's a small amount at a time. So don't underestimate that little bit can add up. We all have time. We just have to choose what we're spending it on, right? Which is hard. That's like a gut check for a lot of us, myself included. What are you spending your time on? Can you squeeze 3 minutes in your day? And I would say the last challenge, really, there's a lot more, but the last challenge really to cover today is the idea of it feeling weird. And we might have some preconceived notions or some ideas of what meditation looks like, or what we've seen it look like, right? We've all seen movies that have meditation. We've watched shows that are take place at a silent meditation retreat. And all of those things are great, and they have their place and their time for different reasons for different people. But meditation in your life can be whatever you make it. It can be easy. It can be simple. It can be something that you can do. Very few people really have any reason that they cannot practice meditation. There are a couple of things that, you want to make sure that you're working with medical providers and things like that. But very, very few people have any reason that they cannot physically, mentally, emotionally meditate to the degree that we did right at the beginning, that very short period. Can it get bigger, longer, better, more consistent, more time invested? Absolutely. But we can overcome what we believe meditation to be by trying it. And there are so many different types, so many different teachers, that what works for you might not work for me, and what works for me might not work for you, okay? You are in the driver's seat of this mindfulness journey. You are the person who gets to decide what works for your life. I'm cheering you on. I'm supporting you. I'm encouraging you because I know the power of what this can do in my life and the lives of a lot of other people that I've worked with over the years. So if you're ready, again, go back to the beginning. Spend some time repeating that little session we did. Pause. Play it again tomorrow. Come back. Do it again the next day. And you'll start to see and feel the benefits, and these challenges won't feel so hard anymore.